am Sonia Stedman, and welcome to my new weekly vlog. Starting next week, it'll be updating on Thursdays around noonish. Now, I finally decided to start a vlog, after all my admiration of many, because why not? Seize the day. After all, I don't know when I might die again. Hang on. Did she just say again? Yep. On March 12th of 2011, I died. Only for about 5 minutes. If I had not been wearing my seatbelt, or I had not been able to get the 7 blood transfusions I needed, it would have been a bit more permanent. So, buckle up and donate, citizens. Here's the story about the day I died.
I got better.
Full disclosure, I'm telling you all of this secondhand. My brain basically was bulldozed from the accident, so I have no memory of it myself. More on that later. I wasn't originally scheduled to work that day.
I'm not even supposed to be here today!
A coworker asked me to fill in for her because she had to attend a funeral that day. That's right. A funeral. Now, there had been a snowstorm the night before, a bad one like often comes in a March in Minnesota. I lived with my mother, and looked out onto our gravel driveway to see deep snow, and my mama says, I don't think you should go into work today. And I must have called in and been told that they needed me, because otherwise I can't figure out why I would have been so insistent on going. So my mama told me, okay, fine, but if you get stuck in that half-mile driveway, I'm not digging you back out. You're staying home. Alright. Obviously, I didn't get stuck. Now, even though the ride to work is long, the highway itself is pretty safe. It's straight and it's well paved, so the accident didn't happen on that highway. The accident happened when I was turning off from that highway into the highway that goes into town. And that turn comes about 5 minutes away from town. So my accident was 5 minutes away from town, which meant that my accident was 5 minutes away from the hospital. I hit black ice, and I spun into the other lane and collided with an oncoming pickup truck. The people in the pickup truck suffered mild bruising. My car was totaled. They needed the jaws of life to get me out. And apparently, the local radio news station reported me as being dead. I mean, as I said, I technically was, but they meant permanently. Which is pretty cool, because that meant I got to quote Mark Twain. The reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. One of my doctors told Mama that I was dead on arrival. And nobody said this to me directly, but I got the impression from my doctors and nurses that it was kind of weirding them out a little bit that I was alive at all and I should at least be paralyzed. It was a bit almost unnatural that I was in such a good condition as I was.
Good things do happen.
Even though I did turn out to be in fairly good condition, I was still a mess. But before I tell you all of my injuries, I'm going to tell you one little extra part of this story that's just about as bizarre as the reason me dying being that somebody had to go to a funeral. Just about the equal level of bizarre. Okay, I was supposed to be playing Dungeons and Dragons that evening. This accident was in the morning. When I didn't show up, they hadn't heard the news. they just thought I stood them up. And so my character was accidentally hit by a large heavy cart twice. Now, my injuries. This side of my face was basically hamburger, so they had to put a plate in my face, a little plastic plate right here. I needed a skin graft and plastic surgery. Obviously I healed pretty well, but this eye popped out of my head, and they were able to just pop it right back in, and funnily enough, this eye sees perfectly fine. It's got almost perfect vision. This eye, though, is almost completely blind. I broke my neck. I have 2 screws in my neck now. I can only turn my head that far. This hand is mostly paralyzed now. It could watch the episode of Supernatural Swan Song and not feel anything. My back got very slightly busted, but like not broken, but because of that I cannot sleep in a bed anymore. I need to sleep in a recliner. Both of my thigh bones were shattered, so in order for them to heal properly, I needed to have steel rods implanted in both my legs. They're not going to be coming out. And because of that, my knees are messed up. And sometimes they will sort of pop out a joint now and then and give out on me. That's not fun when that happens. Then there is the post-traumatic stress disorder. I still occasionally have panic attacks, and I have a way of managing that fairly well with music, but it's not perfect. And then there's my traumatic brain injury, which I alluded to earlier. It meant that I had complete amnesia of the accident, but I also have quite a bit of amnesia from any moment before the accident. I basically, most of my life has been erased in my mind, which makes me, well, it made me a bit sad, because I've done lots of cool things. I've been lots of cool places, and I don't remember going to those places. I went to Ireland, and I don't remember going to Ireland. But now I view it as a reason to do more cool things, and take more pictures this time, so that way I remember. Before the accident, I used to make all sorts of excuses to not do that. I'm too busy for this. I don't have the money for that. I don't have... But there really isn't any excuse that can beat out the reason you might die tomorrow. So remember that. You might die tomorrow.